There are moments in life when it feels like no one sees the love you give, the effort you make, or the storms you've survived. You give, you care, you stay kind, and yet the rewards seem delayed. But I want you to understand something, V. Very powerful. The universe is always listening, always watching, and always working behind the scenes to repay you in ways you never imagined. Everything in life is made of energy. Every word you speak, every thought you think, every action you take carries a frequency of vibration that moves out into the world like ripples in a pond. What you put out is what you attract. Not always immediately, not always from the same source, but inevitably and unavoidably, the energy you offer to life returns to you. This is a universal truth. Energy never lies. It may be invisible to the eye, but it is always present, always active, always responding to you. You may smile while your heart is bitter, but the vibration behind that smile will still speak louder than the expression itself. You may say the right words, but if your thoughts are soaked in resentment or fear, the energy behind those words will reflect your true frequency. So many people try to chase love, success, happiness, believing that if they work harder, do more, force outcomes, they'll find peace. But real peace does not come from effort alone. It comes from alignment. It comes from understanding that your outer world is simply a mirror of your inner world. You do not get what you demand, you get what you radiate. So when you give love without expectation, when you act from a place of truth and kindness, you are creating an energy field that gently but powerfully moves throughout the universe. You may not see the instant results, but the energy is circulating. It is moving through unseen pathways, touching people and places you may never know about. It's drawing to you new opportunities, meaningful relationships, healing, and abundance, quietly, gently, and precisely. On the other hand, when you carry bitterness, jealousy, fear, or resentment, that energy also moves outward. It creates patterns that block love, slow your progress, and invite more of the same into your life. This is not punishment, it is reflection. The universe is not against you, it's responding to your vibration. It simply reflects back what you hold within. You cannot trick the universe. You cannot pretend to be loving when you are filled with hate. You cannot fake gratitude while silently complaining about your life. The universe listens to your vibration, not just your voice. This is why healing begins within. The moment you begin to shift your inner world, your thoughts, your beliefs, your intentions, you shift the entire field around you. The energy changes, and life begins to respond in kind. Think of it like this. Every time you choose love over fear, patience over anger, compassion over judgment, you are sending out a signal that says, I trust, I believe, I am ready for more good. That signal doesn't disappear, it doesn't get lost. It builds, it multiplies, and eventually it finds its way back to you in forms you never expected. Sometimes the energy returns as a kind stranger who shows up at just the right moment. Sometimes it comes as an opportunity that feels like it was made for you. Other times it's a peaceful moment that suddenly washes over you in the middle of a chaotic day. These are not coincidences. These are echoes of the energy you've been putting out into the world. When life seems unfair, when others seem to succeed through manipulation or dishonesty, remember this: they are working on a temporary timeline. Energy always comes full circle, always. You may not see the justice immediately, but life will balance itself. Your job is not to fix others. Your job is to remain faithful to your own energy. Stay kind, stay honest, stay open. The payoff is not always immediate, but it is always coming. And if you've ever felt like all your efforts went unnoticed, if you've ever asked, why does it seem like I give so much and get so little in return? Know this, nothing you have given from the heart has ever been lost. Nothing. Every act of kindness, every moment of forgiveness, every silent prayer, every tear shed in love, all of it has been recorded by the universe. All of it has value, and all of it will return to you multiplied. The energy you give is like a boomerang. Sometimes it circles for a while, flying far away from your current vision, but it always comes back. That's why you must never stop being a source of light, even when the world seems dark. Never stop giving love, even when it feels like no one notices. Never stop doing the right thing, even when it feels hard. Your energy is powerful, and it is creating your future. In the stillness of the present moment, remind yourself, my energy is sacred. What I give, I receive. What I radiate, I attract. I trust that everything I send out in love, honesty, and faith will return to me in divine and perfect ways. I am safe, I am guided, and all is well. There is a quiet magic in planting seeds. Seeds of faith, seeds of hope, seeds of love. These seeds may not look like much in the beginning. In fact, they often look like nothing at all. Just an idea, a silent prayer, a single act of kindness when no one is watching, a decision to believe in yourself again after being broken. These are the seeds that matter most because they are planted not in certainty, but in trust. Faith is not loud. It does not boast or scream for attention. Faith whispers. Faith stands still in the middle of storms and says, I still believe. Faith is what moves you forward even when everything around you seems to be falling apart. And when you choose to plant your life with faith, when you make decisions from a place of inner knowing instead of fear, life begins to move in beautiful, unexpected ways. But here is the part many people forget. You do not always reap your harvest in the same season you planted it. Just because you cannot yet see the results of your prayers or your effort does not mean the universe is not responding. Underneath the surface, beneath the soil of your circumstances, something is growing. Something is forming. Something is preparing to break through at the perfect moment. You may be in a season of waiting right now, waiting for healing, waiting for love, waiting for clarity. And it might feel like nothing is happening. But remember, trees do not grow overnight. Flowers bloom when they're ready, not when we demand it. So it is with your life. Your job is not to force the outcome. Your job is to trust the process. Nurture your faith like a sacred garden. Water it with positive thoughts. Feed it with kind words. Protect it from the weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity. There will be times when you give your best and receive no immediate reward. Times when you love and are not loved back. Times when you help others and are met with silence. These are not failures. These are moments of divine planting. The universe is never idle. Every time you choose love, even when it's hard, you are planting. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, even when you feel broken, you are planting. And what you plant in faith, you will surely reap. But here is the most beautiful part. The harvest rarely comes in the way you expect. You may give kindness to one person and receive abundance from another. You may pray for one door to open and find yourself walking through a better one. You may spend years feeling unnoticed, only to suddenly be seen, valued, and cherished in a way you never dreamed possible. That is how the universe works. It surprises you. It shows up when you least expect it, in forms you didn't even know you needed it. The problem is, many people give up too soon. They look at the bare soil and think nothing is happening. they abandon their faith. They dig up their own roots by giving in to fear and frustration. But if they had only waited a little longer, they would have seen the first green shoot rising, the answer arriving, the blessing breaking through. You must remember that timing is not always in your hands, but faith always is. There is a season for sowing, and there is a season for reaping. And in between is the sacred time of trust. During this time, you may not feel like you're moving forward, but you are. You are growing in strength, in patience, in wisdom. You are becoming someone who can carry the blessings when they arrive, because the universe doesn't just want to give you what you ask for, it wants to give you what will last, what will heal, what will elevate your soul. So take heart, keep showing up, keep believing even when you're tired, keep giving your best even when you feel unnoticed, keep trusting even when the path is unclear, because something is coming, a breakthrough, a shift, a gift, and it will arrive not because you forced it, but because you faithfully prepared for it. The universe never forgets the seeds you planted in faith, and when the season is right, it will return them to you, transformed, multiplied, and perfectly timed. You may not know the day or the hour, but trust this. What is yours is already on its way. What is meant for you cannot miss you. What you've planted will rise. You will be repaid in ways you didn't see coming. And one day, you will look around at the beauty in your life and realize, this is the harvest of my faith. There is a kind of goodness that doesn't need an audience. It moves quietly, gracefully, like the wind brushing through trees or the sun rising without announcement. It is the smile you give to a stranger, the forgiveness you offer without being asked, the prayer whispered for someone who will never know. This is silent goodness, and though the world may not always notice it, we live in a time where noise often overshadows truth, where people chase recognition, applause, and validation, where good deeds are sometimes shared only to be seen, but real power doesn't need to be broadcast. In fact, the most powerful acts of love and compassion often happen behind the scenes, in private moments where no one is watching. That's where energy speaks the loudest. When it's not trying to prove anything, any silent goodness flows from the heart. It expects no reward, no approval, no spotlight. And because it comes from a place of pure intention, it carries a frequency so strong, so clear, that it reaches the very soul of the universe. Energy like that cannot be lost. It cannot be ignored. It ripples out, finds its way into the lives of others, and eventually circles back to you in ways you could never have predicted. You see, the universe understands energy, not ego. It responds to the purity behind your actions, not the performance of them. When you do something kind without telling anyone, when you help someone in silence, when you give because your heart wants to, not because your mind needs credit, that is when your soul is most aligned with the flow of divine abundance. And make no mistake, this kind of goodness is not weakness, it is strength. It is choosing compassion over recognition. It is healing wounds no one sees. It is rising with grace when you've been treated unfairly. It is choosing peace when you could choose revenge. It is quiet, but it is fierce, and the universe listens. You may think that no one sees the good you do, that your efforts go unnoticed, that your sacrifices are forgotten, but the truth is, everything you do in love adds to the great current of light moving through this world. Every loving action you take strengthens the invisible threads connecting all of us. And though it may take time, that love returns. There's a deep beauty in being the one who shows up with integrity when no one else does, the one who keeps their word, who speaks gently even when they are hurt, who shares their blessings quietly without needing recognition. That is divine alignment. That is spiritual wealth. And that is the kind of person who becomes magnetic to miracles. Because when your heart is clear, when your actions are rooted in love rather than ego, you open the door for blessings to pour into your life. Not just material ones, but the blessings of peace, alignment, deep joy and fulfillment, the kind of rewards that last, the kind that cannot be bought or faked. If you have been walking this path, choosing the high road, doing the right thing, loving in silence, then trust that you are seen, not by the world, but by the higher laws that govern life. The universe is keeping track, not with judgment, but with balance, with grace, with divine timing. All that you've given in goodness is being stored in the unseen, and at the right moment it will bloom. Your season will come, not because you shouted the loudest, but because your soul spoke the clearest. Not because you demanded attention, but because your energy called forth truth. Silent goodness does not rust or fade. It does not need to be reminded or repeated. It lives forever in the fabric of life, and it will meet you again when you need it most. So don't stop being good. Don't stop choosing kindness, even when it's hard, even when no one thanks you, even when others misunderstand your heart. Stay soft, stay true, stay open. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are creating a life that radiates power in the quietest, most eternal way. And when the world feels cold or indifferent, remember, you are never planting in vain. You are building something sacred. You are becoming someone who changes the world, not through noise, but through presence, through intention, through quiet, consistent love. That is the loudest voice in the universe. And the universe always answers. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually a divine detour. You make a plan, you take a step, you give your all, and suddenly the door closes. The opportunity vanishes, the person walks away, the path goes quiet. And in those moments, it's easy to think something went wrong. But what if nothing is wrong? What if delays are simply the universe's way of guiding you to something better, something more aligned, something far beyond what you were asking for? Delays can be frustrating. They test your patience, stretch your faith, and stir up every hidden fear. You may wonder if you're not enough, if you missed your moment, if the dream is slipping away. But delays are not punishments. They are pauses filled with purpose. Sometimes the path needs to be cleared. Sometimes you need to be prepared. Sometimes what you're waiting for is growing in silence, just out of sight, waiting for its perfect moment to unfold. Life has an intelligence far greater than the human mind can grasp. It sees the turns ahead that you can't yet see. It understands what needs to fall into place so that your blessings don't just arrive but last. You may think you're ready now, but the universe knows the version of you that's truly capable of receiving, holding, and thriving in the blessings you desire. So it waits. It prepares. It gently closes doors that look good but would lead to pain. It reroutes you, not to hurt you, but to protect you. There are moments when you'll feel like giving up, when the waiting gets heavy and hope starts to dim. But in those moments, remind yourself, delays are not denials. Every delay carries a gift. Maybe the gift is a deeper strength. Maybe it's clarity. Maybe it's a better connection, a more aligned purpose, a truer version of yourself. The universe is always moving in your favor, even when the surface looks still. When things don't happen on your timeline, trust that there is a higher timeline at work. You are not behind. You are not late. You are being guided, and every time something doesn't go as planned, it's because something better is being prepared. What feels like rejection is often redirection. And what feels like loss is often space being cleared for the miraculous. The waiting season is sacred. It's where your soul grows. It's where your trust deepens. It's where you learn to find peace without proof and strength without answers. Don't waste these moments wishing them away. Use them. Use them to heal, to realign, to listen deeply to your heart. There are messages in the stillness. There is wisdom in the delay. And when it's time, the shift will come, not because you forced it, but because you are faithful in the in-between. It is easy to celebrate the harvest, but real power lies in how you carry yourself through the planting and the waiting. Stay kind when things don't go your way. Stay patient when the doors don't open. Stay hopeful when the silence stretches longer than expected. The energy you hold in these quiet seasons is the energy that shapes your next chapter. Let go of the need to control the how and the when. Your job is not to force the outcome. Your job is to stay aligned, to keep showing up with love, with intention, and with faith. The rest will come together. The right people, the right timing, the right doors. They will all unfold in ways you couldn't have imagined. And when it happens, when the pieces click into place, when the breakthrough finally arrives, you'll look back and see it clearly. The delay wasn't a detour. It was direction. It was protection. It was preparation. It was grace in disguise. You are not forgotten. Your prayers are not unheard. Your dreams are not too big. The universe remembers every act of faith, every step you took without seeing the full path. And in time, you will be rewarded, not just with what you asked for, but with more than you knew to ask, because you didn't give up, because you trusted the timing, because you honored the delay and stayed open to the lesson. So breathe, rest, trust. What's meant for you is not slipping away, it's getting closer. And when it arrives, you'll understand why it had to take the time it did, why the other doors had to close, why the waiting was necessary. It's all part of something greater, something kinder, something wiser. Delays are not dead ends, they are divine pauses. And when you learn to embrace them with grace, you become a magnet for miracles. Let life lead you. Let the universe surprise you, because the gifts that come after the wait are always the ones that stay. There are moments in life when the world feels overwhelmingly silent. Not because there's no noise around you, but because no one seems to hear your heart breaking. You smile through your days, do what's expected, keep moving forward. But behind closed doors, in the stillness of night, your tears fall quietly. No one sees them, no one checks in. You cry not to be dramatic, not for attention, but because your soul is aching, and you don't know where else to place the weight you're carrying. But even in those private moments of pain, you are not alone. The universe remembers every tear you've cried in silence. There's a sacred power in pain that isn't spoken out loud. It's the kind of pain that molds your character, strengthens your spirit, and deepens your compassion. It doesn't come with applause. No one celebrates you for enduring what you don't talk about. But the universe sees. And what it sees, it never forgets. Every time your heart cracked open, but you kept loving anyway, that was strength. Every time you were betrayed, but chose not to become bitter, that was grace. Every time you stood back up after falling apart, that was growth. The tears you cried in silence watered the roots of who you are becoming. And nothing is wasted, not even your sorrow. The universe operates through energy. And your energy, your love, your loss, your courage, your silent suffering echoes out like a prayer. It moves through unseen realms and returns to you in ways you cannot always predict. You may think your quiet endurance has gone unnoticed, but you are being watched over by something greater than the eyes of the world. The universe honors resilience. It rewards authenticity. It blesses those who keep going despite the ache in their chest. You are not weak for feeling deeply. You are not broken for needing to release what your soul cannot contain. In fact, the ability to cry, to grieve, to feel, it is evidence that your heart is still open. And an open heart, even a wounded one, is a magnet for miracles. So often people hide their tears because they've been taught that vulnerability is a flaw. But tears are a language of the soul. They are not signs of defeat. They are signs that something meaningful is happening inside of you. You're shedding what no longer serves you. You're purifying your energy. You're making space for something new. And even if no one says thank you for your emotional labor, for your invisible strength, for your unseen efforts, the universe is keeping record. Not to punish or to judge, but to remember, to return to you what you gave multiplied. Because that is how energy flows. That is how love works. What you give in truth always returns in grace. If you are in a season where everything feels heavy, where your emotions are louder than your joy, please know that this is not the end of your story. Healing does not always look like bright mornings and immediate relief. Sometimes healing is quiet. It's crying yourself to sleep and still getting up the next day. It's not having the answers, but still choosing faith. It's trusting that your tears are not wasted, but transforming you. You are becoming something beautiful through every sorrow you survive. And one day, you'll look back and see it clearly. You'll see how the breakdown led to the breakthrough, how the tears softened the walls around your heart, how the solitude brought you closer to your soul. The version of you that's rising from this pain will be stronger, kinder, more powerful than anything you've ever known. You don't need to force healing. You don't need to rush your process. Just allow yourself to feel, to be, to release. And trust that while the world may not understand your journey, the universe always does. Every tear you cried in silence has been heard. Every whisper of desperation, every quiet plea for peace, every breathless prayer for strength, it's all been felt by the forces that love you unconditionally. And those forces are moving mountains in your favor, even now. So let the tears come when they need to. Let your heart speak in the only way it knows how. There is no shame in being human, in needing grace, in longing for comfort. You are worthy of love, even in your lowest moments. The universe remembers. And in time, the healing will match the hurt. The joy will rise where the sorrow once lived. The peace will settle into all the places where grief once echoed. And you'll realize you were never alone. You were always held. There is a sacred kind of strength in keeping your heart open after it's been broken. When someone betrays your trust, when a relationship ends without the closure you prayed for, or when the world turns cold while you remain tender, it's tempting to close yourself off, to build walls so high that nothing and no one can ever reach you again. But when you close your heart to pain, you also close it to healing, to joy, to love. That's why the most powerful thing you can ever do is to remain open, to feel, to trust, and to love again, even after you've been hurt. A broken heart does not mean you are broken. It means you were brave enough to love. It means you allowed yourself to care deeply, to invest in something real, even though you knew there were no guarantees. That takes courage. That is not weakness. That is the evidence of a beautiful soul. When the pain of heartbreak settles in, it can feel like the world has gone dim. It feels like something inside you cracked and can never be made whole again. But the truth is, healing doesn't come from building barriers around your heart. Healing comes from allowing light to reach those broken places. And that light comes from remaining open, open to the idea that life can still be good, that love can still be kind, that hope can still be trusted. The heart is a resilient vessel. Even when it's shattered, it doesn't give up. It beats for you. It carries your memories, your dreams, your capacity to connect. And if you allow it, it will lead you into deeper compassion and greater wisdom than you ever had before. You begin to see things differently, not through bitterness, but through clarity. Not with fear, but with understanding. It's easy to let hurt harden you. It's easy to say, I'll never let this happen again, and lock away your softness in a vault of self-protection. But don't lose the best parts of yourself trying to protect yourself from pain. Your empathy, your vulnerability, your ability to love freely, those are your gifts. And though they were not always met with care, they are still worthy of being shared. When you keep your heart open, you don't deny the hurt. You simply refuse to let it define you. You acknowledge the betrayal, the loss, the grief, but you also acknowledge your desire to live a full life, a life filled with meaningful connection. That doesn't mean rushing back into relationships or pretending everything is fine. It means being gentle with yourself, allowing space for grief, and still believing that something beautiful can grow from the ashes. People may have mishandled your heart, but that doesn't mean everyone will. Not everyone you meet is meant to hurt you. Not every path leads to the same pain. And when you've done the work to heal, when you've cried the necessary tears, faced the truths you didn't want to see, and rebuilt your sense of self, you begin to attract new energies, healthier ones, kinder ones, because you're no longer trying to protect a wound. You're offering a heart that knows its value. You don't have to be perfect to begin again. You just have to be willing. Willing to show up with your truth. Willing to take slow steps. Willing to believe that even after everything, love is still possible. That you are still worthy. That you are not defined by what broke you, but by how beautifully you chose to rise from it. The world needs more open-hearted people. People who've known pain but choose kindness anyway. People who've been abandoned but still offer presence. People who've faced rejection but still extend acceptance. You are one of those people. And your heart, even bruised, even scarred, is still the most powerful thing you carry. So take your time, heal in the ways that feel right to you, rest when you need to, cry when you must, but don't give up on love, don't give up on life, don't give up on yourself. Because one day, someone will meet you where you are, with no games, no lies, no confusion. They will see the strength in your softness. They will honor the journey behind your smile. And they will treat your heart with the care it always deserved. Until then, be that love for yourself. Be the safe place you've been searching for. and know that the universe sees your effort. Every time you choose openness over fear, trust over cynicism, love over withdrawal, you are expanding, you are healing, you are becoming, and that heart of yours, though it's been through so much, still has so much to give. Keep it open, because the love that's meant for you is not behind you, it's ahead.